The Long Game by Sevastian. The streets of London were thick with celebration. The Lord Mayor's parade lighting up the night sky with fireworks and music. Edward Hargrove followed Henry, Fowler, and Jacobs through the fog-cloaked alleys behind the Royal City Bank. The noise of the revelry covered their movements as they approached the rear of the building, sticking to the shadows. Henry was vibrating with excitement, snapping his gum. "This is it, boys. Tonight's the night." Edward nodded silently. He adjusted the sack on his shoulder, staying focused as Fowler knelt by the door, working the lock with deft fingers. The click of the tumblers was drowned out by the distant sound of fireworks bursting overhead. After months of planning, they were finally here. "Got it," Fowler whispered, pushing the door open. The interior of the bank was still and silent, dimly lit by flickering gaslights. The smell of ink and polish hung in the air. They moved quickly through the halls, every step calculated. There was no hesitation now. They knew the plan, and they knew the stakes. Fowler worked on the vault door while Henry fidgeted with the straps of his bag, his face a mask of excitement and tension. "This is it. This is what we've been waiting for." The vault door groaned open, revealing stacks of gold bars glimmering in the faint light. "Grab what you can carry," Henry said, his voice barely above a whisper, though the awe in it was clear. Not too much. Just enough to get out clean. They filled their sacks quickly, the gold heavier than it looked. They worked in silence, focused. The plan wasn't to take everything, just enough. Henry had been insistent about that. They had to move fast, stay light. Once their sacks were full, they headed for the rear exit, moving swiftly, the weight of the gold making every step feel deliberate. Then, just as they were about to slip out, a voice called from the shadows. "Stop! You there? Stop!" A guard emerged from the darkness, hand on his pistol. Henry froze, eyes wide with shock. "Run!" Edward shouted, and they all bolted for the door. The guard's whistle cut through the air, and the sound of heavy boots pounding on the marble floors followed them. The chase was on. They sprinted through the fog-choked streets toward the docks, the sacks of gold weighing them down as the sounds of pursuit grew louder behind them. The city, still celebrating, paid no attention to the figures running through the alleys. The boat was just ahead, waiting under the pier as planned. Just as Edward reached the docks, a hand grabbed him from behind, yanking him off balance. "I've got this one!" a guard shouted, pulling him into the shadows. Henry and the others didn't notice. They were too busy running. Edward staggered, but didn't resist. The guard hauled him further into the alley, away from the chase, his grip loosening as they moved out of sight. When they were alone, the guard let go and straightened his jacket. "You're good," the guard said, his voice calm now. Edward adjusted his coat and looked around. "Everything ready?" The guard nodded. "They're loading the rest." They made their way back to the bank, slipping in through a side entrance as the real guards continued chasing Henry's crew through the streets. Inside, two men dressed as guards were moving quickly, loading the rest of the vault's gold into large crates. They worked silently, efficiently. Edward helped them load the gold onto a second boat, hidden farther down the river, out of sight. They had more time now. The police and guards were chasing the decoys through the fog. The bulk of the gold was theirs, untouched and unnoticed. After several trips back and forth, loading crate after crate of gold, Edward leaned against the boat, catching his breath. "I'll stay and watch the boat. You finish up." The others nodded and headed back inside for the final crates. As soon as they were out of sight, Edward's hands moved quickly. He grabbed the knife from his belt and sliced through the rope, securing the boat to the dock. With a gentle push, he set the boat adrift, the current carrying it quietly downriver, away from the pier. The fog closed in around him as he rode into the darkness, the weight of the gold in the boat steady beneath his feet. The next morning, Edward sat in a private train car, sipping tea as the countryside rolled by. The trunks, neatly stacked in the corner, were filled with gold. He unfolded the newspaper he had bought at the station and skimmed the front page. 2 gangs arrested in dramatic bank heist. Police recover a portion of stolen gold. He smiled faintly and turned the page.